pleasure of meeting Darryl Fox a couple of years ago. My cousin, who's a barber, was cutting his hair. He was a customer of my cousin Frank, and Frank told Darryl what I was doing, what I was up to, and Darryl wanted to meet me. And that was a couple of years ago before I began my walk. And I met with him and I told him everything that I was doing, and he was so excited because it reminded him what Terry was trying to accomplish, and that he made it a point for me to visit him every week after that, just to give him an update on and I did that right up to the kickoff. And I was doing a lot of shows on the Chin program. I don't know if you're familiar with Johnny Lombardi. Yeah, they were helping us to promote this walk, and we did many shows there. And after a while, I was being called the Italian Fox on Italian Terry Fox on that show, and so I didn't want to get in any trouble. So I went to Darryl to tell him that I was being called the Italian Terry Fox. Is that okay with you? And he said, "Of course it is. I'd be very honored for you to be called the Italian Terry Fox." So it kind of led the way in the future for the Italian Terry Fox, that he's coming through every community. And I was certainly infected by what he did, and if we can capture the same spirit that he captured, we're going to make a real difference in Canada. We're going to be able to save a lot of people's lives. Right now, Canada is the lowest when it comes to our rate of donations, and there's 4,000 people on the waiting list presently that are depending on organs to be available, and our country has not been educated and aware enough about this situation, and we need this to change, because other countries are doing very well in their prospective places. Spain, for example, has a 70% success rate of people receiving organs when they're on the waiting list. And that's pretty optimistic. So when anybody gets sick in Spain, whether it's a lung disease, a heart disease, or they need a new kidney or liver, it's a pretty optimistic scenario that an organ will become available. And transplants are a cure. Like I'm a walking testimonial for that, because 5 years ago I was rushed to the hospital and I needed a new liver because my liver failed on me, and I had a couple of days left to live at that point, and so I'm very fortunate to have gotten an organ. But I met a lot of other people that were on the waiting list that passed away. They didn't have the same fortune as I did. So what I'm trying to promote is the spirit of giving. It took a family to make that decision of donating the organs when they lost their loved one, and they did that when they were approached, and because of that decision, 6 people's lives were saved, and I was one of them. So I want to acknowledge that act, that contribution, and I want to try and affect, along with my crew. When I'm speaking of, when I say I mean my crew, because they have to, they're going to be with me all year, and they're going to be going through all the highs and lows of this campaign, and they're going to know, and they know what it's about already, and they're going to understand even more of why we're doing this as we're going along. But the idea is to give those 4,000 people on the waiting list a fighting chance to live, because those families right now, those individuals that are on the waiting list, are living very desperately. They're living with a short time on their hands, and the only means of surviving will be an organ that might become available. So what we're doing is we're doing everything we can to give them a fighting chance to survive, and we're doing that by going from community to community and promoting a very high-spirited, positive message. When they see somebody that received an organ, and he's walking across Canada, I think automatically they'll think, well, transplants must work then, you know. So right off the bat, we got a good positive signal. And you know, after that, we try and make people aware of the situation in Canada and how we can change it to make it better. And we're also trying to reach the government so that the government can start doing a little bit more. We haven't done enough in our country, and we're rallying as many government officials as possible. We're trying to reach all three levels of government: the municipal government, the provincial governments, and the federal government, so that they can make this a priority in their health issues and in their mandates. And you know, we let them know that there can't be anything more important than life. You know, the economy and all that other stuff could fall into place, but if we don't have our health, what good is all the rest of the stuff? You know, so we're trying to promote that, and we're getting a lot of good response. So I'm going to remember this day because we were broke, and you guys helped us out to keep this thing alive. You know, and it's a series of this kind of giving that's going to help make this a successful campaign. So on behalf of my crew and myself, I want to say a really heartfelt thank you.
Thank you.
A lot nicer out today than a couple of days ago. It was pretty cold. I had to walk a couple of days ago when it was really, really cold. And one thing I learned from that is that I better dress a little bit warmer next time. So did you understand what the lady was telling you a little bit earlier?
Not really, but a little bit.
Okay, well, I started a walk across Canada in Toronto on June 20th, and everybody knows where Toronto is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody knows the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah.
You guys used to have the Winnipeg Jets here. You remember
Yeah.
that? Yeah. You wish you could get them back?
No. Yes.